pleased to know I found my way home. If that last night was the lost version where it looked like I didn't know which direction I was travelling in, I'm absolutely fine. This is the sober version today. What I'll probably do on this video is just put in little clips that I just took on my mobile phone from yesterday, just because obviously there's going to be people that don't go to the stadium, haven't been to the stadium, and if I can give you at least some sort of insight into how noisy it was and how much fun it was yesterday, then I'll do so. So please excuse me if this video is sort of punctuated by different clips from time to time. Hopefully you enjoyed them. I didn't actually go with the intention of filming loads of stuff, and I didn't film that much stuff, but you know, when there's a game unfolding in the way that it did, then obviously you're going to get the camera out and start filming stuff, aren't you? It was magnificent. I've just finished recording a video with Gio for the player ratings video, and I said on there, look, it's not for me to say which game is louder than the next, or, you know, as that Liverpool game, was that louder than the Tottenham game, or was that louder than any other game that there might have been? Not for me to say, but I do feel that the stadium is consistently loud this season. I really do. Not only pockets of activity within the stadium, but also overall there'll be numerous times when just the whole ground, you know, sort of rises up in chorus, and I certainly felt that on a number of occasions yesterday. Let's be fair, the team are giving us something to cheer about. They really are, and we'll get into the bigger picture of West Ham and, you know, being in the top four, whether we can do it, whether we can't. Let's be honest, we've got an international break coming up, so there's lots to discuss. But just to chew the fat on yesterday's game, there was a lot of really good performances to really enjoy. When you're playing a team like that, you're going to have your backs to the wall for large parts of the game. And we did. You know, we really did. But I never felt that they peppered us, or I say peppered us, Fabianski, with chance after chance after chance. I felt the system worked. Our system really did. We were resolute. Souček wasn't getting forward in the way that he normally would. That's fine. He had a different role in that game yesterday, and I thought he did it really, really well. But a number of times when Liverpool might be on the attack, when Ben Johnson would move in and sort of make centre-back type clearances, if you know what I mean. You know, big robust headers, big blocks, big clearances. He really is a very, very adept defender there, and I felt just as the game went on. Well, actually, no, his defending was good all game. As the game went on, the better I felt his distribution became. But defensively, really good. But the guy next to him, Zouma.
Come on, boys. Come on, West Ham. Take him.
Well, I say next to him for the first little bit, and then they had to have a swap around. Let's not forget that. And the miracle of that game is that we had to reshuffle our defence. Zouma is just a sensational player. He really is. Not saying this just because he scored. Far from it. You get it. David Moyes has been after a centre-back at West Ham for quite some time, and now you get it. Now you understand why. He was absolutely immense. And if this was his first choice, and we think it was, that's great. I mean, penny for Zouma's thoughts. He's left Chelsea. He's probably thought he's going to drop down a little bit. I think even if he's in his wildest dreams, I doubt Zouma believed he would go to a club that's doing as well as West Ham are doing now. I mean, it seems at the moment... Look, I know Chelsea are European champions. Make no mistake about it. Very, very good club. Massively successful. But we're doing the sort of things that they're doing at the moment. We're up there challenging at the top of the Premier League. We're in the latter stages of European competition. We are in a quarter-finals of the League Cup. All this stuff is absolutely crazy. I mean, you sort of strap yourself in and enjoy the ride. And well, obviously not Zouma. I don't want Zouma just to enjoy the ride. He's got to participate and help push us forward. But, you know, I really feel that's happening. When Dawson came on, he's just so good. I mean, he's so good. it must be frustrating. It's like waves crashing against a brick wall, I think. I know they scored twice, right? Obviously. That being said, the first one was really flimsy. So I don't know if I've got a video here, but we were sat behind a load of screens where you could actually see and zoom in. So we were able to see when the VAR was being decided and stuff like that. We were able to watch it on these screens, which was really interesting, actually. I felt it was a dive, but maybe Declan might have been more aware of the fact that Salah was going to dive. I don't particularly blame Declan. I thought he was the best midfielder on the pitch, and I really felt there. And I'm not saying this because Henderson was injured or got a knock in his collision with Cresswell, but I think even without that, I think. I mentioned this to Gio. I think you saw the past, the present, and the future there. And I think it was the past with Henderson, the present, and the future with Declan Rice. And I felt they didn't really trouble us in central midfield at all. We were really good. In fact, I didn't feel they troubled us massively. They didn't cope with the two things that were going to be really key to this game, which was number one was our counter-attack, and number two was our set plays. They were always going to be a massive factor, and I'm really surprised they didn't play Canate in there, and they can consider themselves lucky that Mikel Antonio did an Enner Valencia and basically ran past the ball because it could have been over a lot earlier than it was. A little bit squeaky bum at the end, maybe. But I wasn't overly concerned. Got to say a massive thank you to ETC, our channel sponsors, who have been massive supporters of us. We went to the game with them, and I don't know whether I don't want to say people's names or anything like that. But I'm sat next to Mr. ETC. And he was really nervous those last 8 minutes. We were trying to calculate how much injury time there would be, and it was. But I wasn't too nervous. I didn't think they were going to score another one. Even the Origi goal, which sort of looked good, looked better in the stadium. When I saw the replay of it on the screen, it actually looked a bit scuffy. I thought it was all right. It was a good goal. Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold's goal was magnificent. But if Jurgen Klopp honestly thinks that he lost that game because basically the goalkeeper flapped, right? But if he thinks he lost that game because of what happened with the Fornals corner, he's not been paying attention at all. He lost that game because at the point where they should have battled and they should have dug in, Liverpool went diving. All right? That's the first thing. Second reason they lost that game because they couldn't contest in midfield. They couldn't win the midfield battle. Another reason was because they didn't deal with us on the counter-attack. Playing Canate would have helped that out massively because he's quicker and he's more aggressive than Matip and would have dealt with Antonio a lot easier. And the fourth reason was because they didn't do their homework on set pieces. It was nothing, honestly, he's got it all wrong. Gio said to me he's not sure even Klopp believes what he's saying. But he got that all wrong. He's got that all wrong, really. There was a number of reasons why they lost that game. And I felt that those were them, certainly. And if he rocked up at the London Stadium and he didn't expect set pieces and counter-attacks to be an issue, then he'd not been doing his homework. I'm sure he had, but I just felt they thought they were going to win, that them just Liverpool turning up would be enough for them to win. And I thought the fans, I didn't particularly mean to dig the fans out, and as someone's pointed out, actually there has been a couple of occasions where there have been some quiet away fans. A lot of it's got to do with the fact that West Ham are a good team. You can't turn up that confident anymore, but you certainly get the impression that Liverpool expected to win, but without really. Liverpool expected to win without putting in 100% effort and fight. They didn't fight. You got to earn the right to play. That's what they say. And I don't ever feel that Liverpool quite did that, because they never really won the battles. Fornals magnificent. I mean, at the heartbeat of that stadium yesterday really was. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And when you got players playing to that level of intensity, look, there was some skills on show, there was some technique on shows, but you'd probably say that the two best bits of technique on the day were possibly from Salah, possibly from Trent Alexander-Arnold, but that ain't enough. That's not enough. If you're not going to match that with intensity, then I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen for you. Because I tell you what, Fornals had plenty of skill on that day, and he had plenty of intensity. For Bowen as well, the technique of being able to cross the ball over and from the set plays, Bowen's run that released Fornals for his goal was absolutely sensational. But you get the impression, again, I don't want to be too harsh, because I think it's fair to say, if you go back and look at our preview about Liverpool, I think we were very kind to Liverpool. But on reflection after seeing that game, when Bowen went on his run, you felt, had that been a Liverpool player, they would have gone down. There were occasions where Bowen might have said, "Oh, he touched my shirt," or "he clipped my heel," or this, that, or the other, and he could have gone down. That's not Jarrod Bowen. He's got a desire, and he's got will to win. And desire, I felt, was the main difference between the teams. Some wonderful performances. I mean, they really, really were. You know, I keep going back. I keep thinking of Zouma. I keep thinking of Fornals, those two in particular. But I mean, you know, I really loved Johnson's defensive display as well. I thought Antonio worked his socks off. I've got to be honest with you. I thought Van Dijk, since his injury, has not been the same player. And I thought, I just don't. I sort of changed my mind after yesterday. Actually, I thought Van Dijk was really good. Really good. I thought what he didn't get was help from everybody else around him. That's Matip, that's Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that's Robertson. I thought there were times when he felt he was struggling to deal with Antonio, and particularly the way we would get men to join up in the counter-attack really quickly. And there was one point where you saw him gesturing around saying, help me out here. Good player Van Dijk. But I tell you what, Antonio softened them up yesterday, which enabled everybody else to sort of come to the fore and do their bit. That was no fluke. That was no fluke at all. And the best team won. Absolutely, the best team won. Because I've always maintained, the game is not just about... If the game was about, I don't know, nutmegs and tricks and flicks, fine. But it's not. It's not. And unfortunately for Klopp and unfortunately for Liverpool, they seem to think that it's a little bit marking, tackling, interceptions, heading, work rate, strength. They seem to think that they're all dirty words and almost, how dare you play that way against Liverpool. But the heading, the strength, the tackling, the aggression, it's just as important as ball control, passing. They're all parts of the game. They're all facets of the game. It's a contact sport. You get the impression that they wish it wasn't, but it is a contact sport. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying contact sport that... I thought Cresswell put himself in a situation where he may have got sent off. I mean, you know, you could understand that was given. Whether you think it was or whether you think it wasn't, it was borderline. And if you're going to do something borderline like that, you might find yourself down to 10 men. So I'm not talking about aggression, I'm talking about just a desire to win a tackle, desire to win a header. And they had it in abundance. You got the impression, I feel these three in particular, actually I'll go with four, actually, which was Johnson, Zouma, Dawson and Souček. They weren't going to be beaten in the air. They're just going to win every header. You will not beat them. Granted, I know Mane snuck in at the end and might have felt that he should have done better. And I felt that was probably the worst bit of defending on the day, actually, in many respects. But you know what? They didn't score because they weren't clinical enough when he got there. We were. We'll go into in more detail. We'll go into a few more bits and pieces over the upcoming days about where West Ham are exactly in terms of the Premier League, because we've got a lot to discuss going into the international break. But what a time to be in the stadium! What a time to be supporting West Ham! You know, It's funny actually, because you know you go to the stadium, watch the games, and you don't see every detail, but you soak up the atmosphere. You sit at home and you get to enjoy every detail and the replays and all the rest of it. So it's just great. A great time to be a West Ham fan at the moment. Absolutely brilliant. The place was rocking. I think the only thing I regret really is that we just don't get enough of these on a Saturday. So you know we can sort of enjoy the evening. Obviously, I know it probably looked like I enjoyed the evening, but you get to enjoy the evening and enjoy the next day to sort of soak it all up. But honestly, no complaints there at all. And that's from West Ham. No complaints. Liverpool have got a few. I think they know you know, what they can do and what they need to do better. Gio said he thinks Klopp's rattled. He thinks Klopp's startled. He thinks Klopp's looking at West Ham and thinking, hold on, these boys are a pest. Hopefully we're a pest that doesn't go away. It's going to be really interesting. Anyway, we'll deal with that in another video. All in all, just trying to think now, rack through my brains if there's... Oh, we went through all the players individually on the player ratings, of course, but David Moyes. I mean, just David Moyes. I've not spoken enough about David Moyes. It'll be another video. It's a miracle. I'm telling you, it's a miracle what's going on at West Ham at the moment. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I'll leave you with this. So, I mean, it's just in very recent times, it seems. We beat a Man U, we beat a Man City, we beat Tottenham, and we've just beaten Liverpool. One thing I do know, if you're a manager and you're looking at the fixture schedule, you're looking at the calendar now, and you're seeing West Ham on there, you don't want to play us. I really do. I honestly think, almost for any team, we are the last team you want to play at the moment. And we're handling it well. We're handling it well. We really are. You know, it's his expectation. West Ham had never had expectation. Now we've got expectation. We've got these big teams rocking up at the London Stadium while we're going away, or whatever the case may be. And there's an expectation that we might do all right. Actually, I've got to say, sorry. So I know I sort of finished the video. I know I moan about Talk Sport a lot. But I think it's got its good side, by the way. I love the Hawksby and Jacobs show, even though I know who is it? It's Jacobs ain't on it. Paul Hawksby's on it. Jacobs not. I think his wife's not well, which is very sad. So he's not on it as much as he used to. I like that show. It's not like I don't. I like the Sports Bar as well. There's lots of things I do like about TalkSport, but there's definitely, particularly in the morning time, I feel as well. There's a lot of anti-West Ham stuff. You get the impression, unless Sinclair's on there, which gives a bit of counterbalance, you get the impression they're not delighted to see West Ham doing what they're doing. And I had to listen this morning to Jamie O'Hara, and he doesn't help himself. Jamie O'Hara complains about Jamie O'Hara as how can I say, he's struggled with mental health issues at times, you know, and you know what, fair play to him, and he's really turned his life around. I've got a lot of respect for him for that, by the way. But he talks about online hate quite a lot. But he doesn't help himself. He really doesn't help himself. I've got to say this. So when Conte got rubber stamped as a Tottenham manager, he started going on about how West Ham fans wouldn't like it. But why say it? Well, I don't understand. Why say it? Enjoy the fact you got a new manager. Nuno wasn't cutting it. You ended up, you got a world-class manager. I don't know why West Ham would even come into the conversation. I really don't. Yeah, he can't, and he knows, because he knows that part of the world really well. He really does, and he's going to know it's going to annoy West Ham fans. But he sort of does it anyway. And then you just heard him today. He just couldn't quite help himself, really. He couldn't quite help himself. Rather than that being a good win for West Ham, and West Ham deserve winners and all the rest of it, the most passionate he got, and I'll tell you, he was almost shouting at Trevor Sinclair at one point when, just going on about the Cresswell tackle and this, that and the other. I honestly really don't think he helps himself at all. I don't think TalkSport helped themselves. At least they were talking about West Ham. The last two victories, they've either been talking about anyone other than West Ham, haven't they? You know, with Tottenham, they were talking about Tottenham, weren't they? After, and then they were talking about they were talking about the Man U game directly after we beat Tottenham, and then obviously after the Aston Villa game, they were talking about Tottenham because Tottenham had appointed Conte. Anyway, whatever. I shouldn't be bothered. It does annoy me a little bit though. I just don't think they help themselves massively. That's all right. We can talk about West Ham amongst ourselves. We don't need them.